Hello everybody. Kind of damp where I'm at. I was not going to do the show today because it was so bad and I didn't want to drive back out. Didn't know how the roads would be, but talked to Bob. He wanted to do it, so I turned the heat on so it wouldn't be so cold in here. Went home. Didn't know how the weather might be, and looked like it might be alright, so. But figured it wouldn't hurt to drive four-wheel drive. Had one of them. Went out and started it up, but run out of gas in the yard. Ike parked it there. So, brought my van. Bob called, said he couldn't make it. Windshield wipers tore up on my van. All I needed to fix them was a pair of pliers, but had all my tools in the wrong vehicle. All I needed was a pair of pliers, and all I had was a hammer, and I fixed it anyway. And I got here. And I know this may not be your favorite show, but I'm glad to be here. Thanks for tuning in. See if I can come up with something. I don't promise a full hour because I don't have that much to say. I usually just save up about half a show and let Bob do the other half. But we got some awful good sponsors and I wanted to mention them. See what the weather says. It says it's going to be dangerously cold wind, rain, nuisance, flooding, sleet, snow, ice. Coldest temperature of the season. Supposed to be down to 28 tonight. And going to get cold tomorrow night. 28 tonight and get cold tomorrow night. Down to 19 on 15 on Wednesday, 19 on Thursday, they say. So be good to fire up the oven and cook the turkey because it'll warm the kitchen up. Don't give up on me here. I'm a little bit discombobulated. Nothing's going right, but just glad to be alive and wet. And I got rained on once today. You know, I'm going to talk about government a while and do some ranting. Most of these here new laws, Obamacare is one example, most of these new laws that are so oppressive for a small business or a new business or an individual are usually promoted by big business. The insurance companies promoted Obamacare because they don't want to have a captive market and you're forced to buy their insurance and maybe they're regulated, but they get all the breaks. It ain't working out real good just right now, though. But that's the way it usually is. A small business, they're going to be hurt by this in a big way, and an individual is going to be hurt by it. But the big businesses, they were looking forward to it. I mean, the insurance companies anyway. I'm just glad to see they're getting their noses rubbed in it. Same thing went on with the EPA. There used to be a mom and pop filling station, 2 or 3 of them in every town, depending on the size of the town. This town here, for instance, there was 4 or 5 independent gas stations in this town at one time. And the gas prices were stable, had been very much the same price for, say 5 or 6 years at 32 cents a gallon. At that time, a gallon of gas, a filling station could make about 7 cents on a gallon. And that translated to about 21% on the dollar, which is a pretty good markup. They don't have near that now. You may think they're getting rich, but the guys pumping the gas is not. But they passed all the environmental regulations and the OSHA regulations and every other kind of regulation that you have to comply with. And that put all the mom and pop places out of business. You have to be affiliated with with a major brand now, in order to stay in business, you're going to have pockets deep enough to stand up to it if something goes wrong. And most individuals, well, it's just not worth the risk for the markup you get. So, where Mom and Pop used to buy their gas from a dealer and sell it as an unbranded item, was the same thing you'd get at the major brands, but the branded stations here in this area, they didn't rely on gas sales. They did wash jobs and grease jobs and some minor repairs and sold tires, and they made a living too. It's just a different way of doing it. But that's all changed now. The major brands got antsy about so much gas being sold by somebody that they didn't get the final markup on it. So now, poor old guy, that just an independent guy who owns a filling station, and that goes on quite often, but they'll own the property, usually them and the bank, and they're branded through a major supplier like Exxon or Shell or something like that, and they will make hopefully enough to pay the electric bill from their gas sales, and then rely on their other items, their convenience store items, to actually make them a profit. So they're averaging maybe 5%, if they're lucky, on petroleum markup, gas markup, and the home company, the one that's doing the branding and taking care of the problems, if they have a major gas spill or something like that, they are they're raking in probably from bottom to top of 75 cents a gallon, and there's that much or more taxes involved from the wellhead to the pump, so the government's in it too. Everybody's getting theirs except the guys really going out there and doing the work. And I'm not faulting gas companies, because they've got some major investments, some major risk too, but they got in bed with the politicians in order to get things their way. The same thing is going on in the insurance business now. That's what that's what really brought this thing forward, is the insurance companies saw an opportunity to be able to have an assured market, and expecting to get a bunch of younger people with low risk to foot the bill for old codgers like me, and then when they get old enough, they push them off on Medicare, and if they're disabled, they push them off on Social Security Medicare. So it's a good deal for the insurance companies if they ever get all the bugs worked out. Problem is, they're having more bugs than they anticipated. And that's all I've got to say about that. But I will say that our sponsors have been awfully good to us. Vital Care, 562-9370. They are, well, in my opinion, they're the best opportunity for you to get a ride to the hospital if you seriously need it. They've got up-to-date, well-maintained, state-of-the-art equipment, good people taking care of the patients, and they have an investment. If they don't provide well, they suffer. They go out of business. They get sued. They have all sorts of problems if they don't do what they're supposed to do. And they can't, I mean, they got to close up. And I'm not knocking the government ambulance service in any way. They've got fine people. I mean, you just don't get a job like that if you're a Yahoo. But if they lose money, they just get more taxes. And that's nice to fall back on the fact that you can't be put out of business. That's another deal. Say it this way, if you needed a ride to the hospital or any sort of medical transport, go to the people who have to do the best they can, whether they want to or not. And I don't believe you'd be disappointed, except you're probably sick. You wouldn't be calling them, and I'm sorry about that. 562-9370. Hopefully, the Bond family will find gold at the end of the rainbow, and nobody will ever get sick and need another ride to the hospital. And they can just close up and spend their gold. But I doubt it. So write the number down, or if you can't remember it, you need an ambulance. You can call 911 and tell them your problem and tell them you'd like to have vital care to haul you. You know, if you've got a wet spot on your property now, and not everybody's got one today, but if you've got a mud hole or a wet weather spring or something like that, rest assured that that's federal property now. The EPA is in the process of controlling your property through anything that looks like it might have a raindrop on it sometime. And oh, by the way, did you know that this is going on in surrounding counties? It's not enforced here. I don't know whether it's law or not, because they sneak these things in and don't tell you. But if you've got water running off of your house, you can be taxed for the amount of water that you impede from reaching the ground. And you're not allowed to catch it either. I mean, we used to get our water from a cistern, but that's illegal in some places, and possibly here it's not enforced. Don't seem reasonable, but property rights, real property rights, are going by the wayside. Those same people that are so anxious to control your property get their self in a real conniptive state. They have conniptions. If you try to take some of their intellectual property, if one of them writes a book, then they all over the place to make sure you don't do anything about that. Ed Begley Jr. is an actor, kind of a B-grade actor in my opinion, but anyway, I heard him talking on a morning show one time, and he said that he was giving somebody his opinion on energy use. You're not allowed to use, I mean, you should be forced to have your home appraised to see if you're wasting any energy. And his argument was that anytime you use energy, you're taking away from the group. We all own the air and the surroundings and stuff, and it's not right for you to use it in a way that's not suitable for everybody. And so I just happened to go on his website and check out his email address, and I wrote him an email, and I said, seems that you're not well, first off, I knew that he'd done traced property rights, so I looked on his website, and he was selling books and other stuff as part of his income. So I wrote him a letter and an email and asked him, why are you doing this? If this is worth having, why do you want to claim this as yours? Why are you not giving this away or allowing people to reprint it and use it? If it's I mean, why do you think you own this? Just because you wrote the book, it's for the good of all mankind. Why not let the rest of us enjoy it without funding you? So he wrote me back, and he said that was part of his income, that was the way part of the way he made his living. And he said that was the way he made his living. So I wrote him back again, and I said, well, if you're so adamant about your intellectual property. Why is you going to steal my house and tell me what to do in it? And I didn't hear from him no more. I guess he probably felt like I'd crossed the line and insulted him. But I felt right insulted by what he'd done to me. And went down to Digger's today. I went down there and spent $120-something of the old Digger, and it's worth every penny of it because I got me some propane. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tanks filled up. But that'll carry me right through. Of course, I started getting low. I was out this morning. I had to go change the tank in the rain, but that's all right. I kind of expected that anyway. Digger, 5625444, right in the middle of the road in Sawmill Holler. I highly recommend his propane. I got the mesquite flavor. I still wanted to use it even if it is winter time, and I'm just using it mostly for heat. Digger was working like a one-legged man in a dance contest today. He just didn't have enough hands. Yeah, he had him a helper, but he, poor fella, he may have froze to death before the day is over. And he'll be there tomorrow, and he'll be there Friday, and I hope and I think that he's going to take off for Thanksgiving. But you can depend on him. Got good products, and he's a good feller. And he, not only does he's retired a time or two, and he ain't rich, I'm sure, but he could get by without working like he does, except that he knows when he quits, he's quit for good, and he don't want to. But what I'm trying to get to is that he uses a lot of his time and his own money to promote the Shrine Hospital and all the kid stuff that they do, and he's just he's just an asset to the community. Go down there and help him out by buying some of his propane, and tell him Ronnie sent you, and he'll charge you more. Nah, he wouldn't do that. This year, MSNBC, none of my business, but I really think this little old low-class UGG television has got more class than that outfit. I don't know where you've been keeping up with it or not, but they have a guy there by the name of Brashear who just said some very vile and disgusting things about Sarah Palin. And I'm not going to go into what was said, but look it up if you're interested. If you're not disgusted, Democrat, Republican, male or female, then there's something wrong with him. But he apologized, and that made it all right. And they also had Alex Baldwin, who I am not a fan of at all, after he gave his daughter such a hard time, and maybe she needed a hard time, but she didn't need the words he used and the way he talked to her. But anyway, Alex, he got him a new show. He wasn't exactly lighting up the cable with his show, but he was on, and then he, outside the workplace, his own private time, some photographer kind of ticked him off, and he insulted her. Well, he made mention of the guy might be gay and called him a name or two, and I don't approve of that either. But MSNBC fired him today because he had said something and offended a special interest group off camera on his own time, but they've not fired this Brashear guy who come up with some of the most vile and disgusting language imaginable to insult Sarah Palin, who is just a public figure. Now, she's not running for anything. She's minding her own business, and I voted for her for president, and we're hoping that, that other guy'd get elected and die. I hate to say that, it's true. Maybe not die, just retire. That's it. And turns out those death panels that they made so much fun of her for predicting or working out to have been true. Funny how things come around. Yes, I'll tell you about Dixie Concrete, because Dixie Concrete probably ain't pouring none right now, but they could if you needed it, and they can fix it so it'll set up in the rain and the cold and everything. They're experts at concrete. They've discovered the secret recipes. It never lets anybody down. 562-5656. 562-5656. Call and talk to them. I'm sure you can set up something to get that driveway concreted so you won't be stuck in the mud when the bottom falls out of this thing after it freezes and thaws. Dixie's good people too. Top of the line people. Well, I think I've about done my show, but I ain't done talking yet. I told you I was going to do some rants, and I'm just kind of pulling up some rants I've thought of here. We got a big deal going on here. Well, maybe I better let that one go. That's too complicated. I'm sorry, I'll do that one a different time. Because I just really don't want to get into all that right now. Guy sent me a Bible verse. It says, "For even when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat." And this comes from 2 Thessalonians 3:10. That was Paul's missive to the Thessalonians. What I'm getting to is, everywhere I go, they want me to give $1 or $2 or something to feed the hungry. And I'd be more than glad to feed the hungry. But I'm not contributing to the stores who are in the indirect way they're selling food. They're not, they may even sell it wholesale, I don't know. But I'm sure they're not giving food away. They want me to give $1 so they can buy their food, I'm sure, and give it to some person who they deem to be in need. If they're so anxious to do that, won't they give them the food? I mean, I contribute a lot, some that I don't say anything about, but we all pay taxes. I don't think you can starve to death in this country unless you're mentally ill, physically unable to go get something to eat, or just lazy. And I just got the bah humbug spirit last winter, and it's starting early this year, and I've already bah humbugged. I'm sorry to be so hard to live with, but if I come to your store, don't ask me to contribute. I already did. And if you come to mine, I promise I won't ask you either. And by the way, I wish you would come to mine and buy you a roof. You're going to run out of buckets over the next 2 or 3 days with all this rain and stuff. So when you get tired of setting a bucket under the drip, and I saw one of them down at Food City today, maybe they ought to come buy a roof. But if you are kind of at your wit's end about your roof leaking, hunt you a good roofer, or come see me, and I can tell you some people that seem to be good roofers, and I'll sell you some roof and vinyl siding, and you probably ain't interested in doing vinyl siding this time of year, but if you just want to fix things up for Mama for Christmas, I can take care of that. I'm right down here beside the highway where I've been all my life practically, and I do appreciate the customers that come. I appreciate everybody who ever spends a nickel for me and with me, and I try to give a fair measure for a fair price, but I don't forget who feeds me, and that'd be the people that come through my door. Bob's got some stuff up there too, but he ain't here, and I ain't gonna tell you about it. He ought to been here himself. Have you ever noticed how the Democrats must all go home together of a night and figure out what they're going to say tomorrow, because they all come on stage with the same phrases every day. Old dumb Republicans, they ain't got enough sense to come up with a game plan. They busy trying to be like John McCain, Mitch McConnell, and stabbed Ted Cruz in the back, who turned out to be quite right about Obamacare. And I noticed that the opinion polls have rebounded considerably in favor of the Ted Cruzites, as opposed to the way they were a month ago, when it seemed, according to some pundits, that the Republicans would never recover from the damage that that had been done by Ted Cruz and that Lee guy out there. About out of coffee, and I'm cold. I turned the heat on, but it ain't much warm anyway. Napa Auto Parts up there got spark plugs and everything that you need to make a car operate, or a lawnmower, which you probably don't care about right now, or a tractor, and you may need a snow blower. I highly recommend that if you need any auto parts or anything like that, go up there and see Randy. He's across my GA. They good people too. They don't shop for car parts in China too often, if at all. So you can get something as good or better than original equipment. And that's quite possible, because when they first build something, they make some extra parts. They may not correct the bugs till they run out, but aftermarket people, if they're on their toes, will fix it and have it ready. So you might want to look into Napa Auto Parts, 562-9370 for all of your auto parts needs, and see what's going on, if there's anything else here needs to mention, because I've about got my 30 minutes in. And I do appreciate you tuning in, and for putting up with this insanity as long as you have. And looks like I'm done, folks. Thank you. Happy trails. Let's see, how do I turn me off here? I've lost me. Yeah, there I am. See you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Channel 12 or UGG TV here, and everybody stay safe and warm and well, and don't be out in the wet spots too much, and watch for ice. Thank you.